Okay, this is Dan Heckel, and I'm here with Sister Pauletta McCarty. It is March the 19th, 2013, and she's going to tell us about her life as an Ursuline sister.
Okay. There are 8 children in our family. I'm the 3rd child, but the 2nd girl. There's one brother older. And about how did you know about the Ursulines? Well, I've known about the Ursulines all my life because even before I was a month old, I was taken to one of my aunt's investiture as an Ursuline. And during the summertime, when we could visit, I remember coming many times to visit my aunt, who was an Ursuline sister, but Mother had another sister who became a Sister of Mercy. And when I went to Louisville to school, high school, I went to the Sisters of Mercy. And at that time, Sister Mary Borgia was at Mercy Academy because of the 1937 flood. And Mercy Academy was on East Broadway. So that's where Sister Mary Borgia, that was her home, a community home. But she had been teaching down at West End of Louisville, and it was flooded, and they had to move out. And so she came up to East Broadway, and I got to see her quite a bit, and I talked to her. When I got real homesick, I would talk to her. And so I'm sure she must not have objected to my wanting to come back to Owensboro. So I came back to Owensboro. Nobody objected to my coming back, except my grandparents, and they thought I was kind of foolish because they thought it was going to be the end of my education. But
How did you end up going to Louisville to school? It's because you couldn't ride the school bus?
Right. Catholic children going to Catholic schools were not permitted to ride a public school bus. And so I went to Louisville, lived with my grandparents, and I walked to Mercy Academy. And after the 1937 flood, my sister, who was a year older than I, came to Louisville on her wedding trip. She had married, and I wasn't present for the wedding. So anyway, when she came down to Mercy to tell me goodbye, I told her to take me back to grandmother's and let me get my suitcase because I was coming home with them. And I did. And nobody objected to that at home, except grandmother. She thought I wouldn't be going to school anymore. But by that time, Catholic children were allowed to ride the bus. So I was able to come to Mount St. Joseph and finish my high school. And then after high school, I said something to my mother about becoming a sister. And she said, well, that's only entrance day. It's just 2 weeks away. We don't have time to get anything ready. And I said, well, that's all right with me. So I just played around for another 2 years. And then after that, we decided that if I was going to become a sister, I better be doing something about it. So there was a funeral at the Mount, and I came out here to attend that funeral. It was a funeral of a priest. And when I was here, I went to see the superior and ask her about my entering. So that's when I got my entrance blank and made my entrance into the, I didn't enter at that particular time, but a month later I came.
What was the community like when you entered it?
The community I thought was very large. We had a good number. As you entered, you got a number, like my number was 396. Well, there were some sisters later on who became 500, 600, 700. We got to be a pretty large community. But then after Vatican II, something's mentioned here about Vatican II, a good many sisters left. Some of them went to another order, and some of them just went back home, you know. So I don't know what difference Vatican II made in the community for the Ursulines, except that we relaxed our laws about having company a little bit more. And
Couldn't have much company before then?
yes, we could, but it only on certain days, you know, certain times. Couldn't have any company on first Sunday of the month. And there were certain other times we couldn't have company. Retreats were very strict. I mean, you know, it was total silence.